Hello!
Hello AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Sigmar.
And in this video, we're going to look at the new Leviathan box.
Leviathan!
Yes, Warhammer 40,000 Leviathan is here, or soon will be. GW very kindly and slightly amazingly sent us a box
Yeah, thank you very much.
of Leviathan, which we are going to delve into. Now, I think this has been unboxed just about everywhere that has an internet connection.
About 1 billion times, yeah.
So we're not going to go through it piece by piece because frankly...
GW showed it all anyway.
What can we add?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you can go online and see everything that's in the box, so there's not really much point in digging deep into it. But it is a thing of beauty, as usual. A big shiny box.
Huge. So there's the box.
Yep.
Oh, it's a bit empty now.
Yes, I wonder what's going on here.
So you get this, which is pretty much the front of the box again, but it's to protect the inside of the box.
Oh my god! Somebody packed this on top and it's eaten all of the plastic inside the box.
We are, of course, being very silly.
Tyrannids. Yes, so there is about a zillion sprues.
Thousands and thousands of tons of plastic.
Yep.
And we're not going to bother running through all...
No, there wasn't an underwater board in there.
Thousands of tons of plastic. We're not going to run through all that because GW have already shown it all off, all put together and assembled and glued and painted and looking lovely and all the rest of it.
But there's some lovely minis in there, and we're going to have have a little fun. Well, Pete's going to build them because I don't like building. And
I mind sticking stuff.
And then we're going to paint them up.
Yeah. So the inside of the box, once you manage to dig through all the plastic, no terrain in the box. Probably another thing everybody already knew, but there is no terrain in the box because this isn't a starter box as such. It's just like a bit like Indomitus or whatever it was.
It's just like Indomitus.
It's just like Indomitus. You just get the models and some rules to play with. Now you do have the instructions stick all together, and in the back of each one it has a very handy but also slightly strange sort of statistics sheet with all their weapons and attack profiles and stuff like that. I
sort of wish that wasn't in the instructions book.
Which is a bit weird because you can't probably make it out very well from that, but it's just pictures of the models with the main weapon areas sort of highlighted a bit, and then
I still don't understand the purpose of them.
No, it's a bit weird.
Picture of a bolt, a greyed out Space Marine, and then you can see the bolter in sort of not greyed out. And
the weapon stats are all in there, so you can just pick it up and start playing a game.
Yeah. But
it doesn't have any of the details of what the weapons or anything are, so you don't know if it's a bolter or whatever. Okay. But it does say if it's like a power weapon or if it's got the blast special and things like that. You can look that up.
And it's all keyworded, so you've got to find that in the rules.
Yes.
Somewhere. Yeah. What things do. I don't quite like that it's the instructions for putting them together in the stats, because you don't need, once you put them together, you don't need the instructions.
Cut them all out, aren't you?
You're going to have to take that around with you.
It could just be a separate leaflet. It would have been just as easy.
I don't know whether there's a cost implication in doing it that way, but it seems like it would be easier to make them separate.
Yeah. Then you have the biggest thing in here,
as ever,
is the rules and the fluff and stuff.
As ever, and I again question slightly how they've done that, in the sense that the core rules are in the middle of the book, which is a slightly old place to put them. And there's a separate index for the core rules, which is obviously quite good that they've done that. But I feel like the core rules, again, could have been separate so that you don't have to take the bloody great big manual round with you when you're playing it. Now, I know they're available to download, and you can put them on your tablet or your phone or whatever. So perhaps that's a moot point. Perhaps everybody's going to...
It's like an inch thick, this thing. It's massive. It's like an old Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah. It's huge. It does have, like Robin says, has all the special rules in here, so all the rules for missions, all the basic core rules to be able to play a game, all the advanced stuff for like campaigns and all that good stuff as well. So there's
loads and loads of lore.
Loads of lore.
How much of that's changed since the last bloody great big book we got for the loads of lore? Probably not that much.
It's probably just like it says, and then there were more Tyranids.
But it's obviously lots of people love the lore, so it's fair enough. And it is a thing of beauty. I'm just a little bit cynical because like we have. When we first started doing this gig, and number 8 came out, which I've forgotten whether that even had a name.
Yeah.
We were like really excited. 40k is changing for the better. You know, everything's brilliant. And then it's like 3 years later, it's like, oh, here comes 9th edition. 40k is changing for the better.
It's even better than it was before.
Yeah, and then it's got a massive rule book with all the lore and everything in it. And then 3 years after that,
it's getting even better.
It's completely changed, totally different to how it was, and we've got the same thing. So I'm a little bit jaded by the release. That said, there's a few things in here which excite me, and one of the main things is the combat patrol.
So for those who don't know, combat patrol boxes are little box sets you could buy for GW for one for every specific army, and they range in prices about £100-ish, something like that.
Yeah, or if you go to our wonderful sponsor, Will and Games, you'll get it for about 20% off that price. So definitely check them out.
Yep, so about 80 quid-ish. And you can pick a couple of armies you might see. You might see the Eldari or something like the Necrons or some of those, you like it. And you get a leader and a couple of squads and maybe a vehicle in there. And they've made it so that you can buy one of those boxes and you can just play against someone else who's bought one of those boxes, I like that.
I really like that. It's almost like Underworlds in a sense. You buy your warband. It's obviously a little bit more expensive than buying Underworld's warband, but you buy your Combat Patrol and you can just play it. And there's actually codified rules with different missions and things in there to play it, which is really nice. This box has more than a Combat Patrol in it for each army. It's got
like almost 2 Combat Patrols worth of troops in there.
But I believe that they've already announced that the Tyranids one will be effectively everything that's in the Combat Patrol box is going to be in this box with Tyranids.
Yes, but you will have some left over, so it will cover all of that and then a bit more because it doesn't have things like the Screamer Killer, the big gripping things in there.
No, what I'm saying is, if this box you can just go and play Combat Patrol straight away. You can just make those bits, go and play Combat Patrol, and you can play Tyranids versus the Space Marines. There's a little article in there on how to play Combat Patrol.
Maybe we'll try that.
The two armies are subsets of what you get in this box. So you basically get 2 Combat Patrols in this to go out and play. They say it will take about an hour, but I reckon we can break that easy.
I reckon we can make that 2 hours without breaking a sweat.
Well, easy peasy. They say it's interesting. They say an hour for a Combat Patrol game and 2 hours for a 1,000-point game.
Well, that kind of track. Well, I guess it sort of tracks because a Combat Patrol is around 500
Is that all
points.
They are? So they feel like they're more than that. Because I've never played. Well, barely. I've barely played 40k.
It depends on which one you buy. Some of them are more points than others, I think, but hopefully they're kind of a bit unbalanced. They did say the Combat Patrol isn't designed to be completely balanced, so you're going to have some that are just going to be better than others. And I guess if you find yourself in that situation, you probably should have to go and buy another squad or something to try and level things up a little bit.
Who would have thought that GW didn't try and completely balance something?
I can't believe it.
Seems shocking to me.
So that really appeals to me about the game, and I feel like whilst they have gone through lots of iterations of the game and we're on like the 3rd or 4th, even simpler, it does feel to me like this time around it has got a lot more simple.
More
simplerist. It's But looking at some of the things they've shown us so far, they do look like this time around they've gone, we do need to actually make this simpler, guys.
Yeah, I feel like 7th to 8th was more simple.
Yes.
And 8th and 9th wasn't.
No, I don't think
that
not
that I really explored it in any detail, but we tried to do it.
Yeah.
I think, and it was difficult because it was the COVID times.
Yeah.
And it was just like, actually, I can't be bothered.
It didn't add any simplicity and end up with loads more books and loads more references everywhere and everything. This time around, it feels like you'll be able to pick up your fighter cards, your squad cards, pick up the quick reference sheet for the sort of the simple rules, and that's almost going to be it. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays.
And lots of the rules for this new version for the old things are going to be available immediately.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. From what GW said, everything's going to be downloadable online from day one, which is, I think, it's really nice that they've done that rather than going, you're going to have to buy another book.
Yeah. So I do like that, and I do like the fact that you can just buy these single boxes and have small games, and I think we might try and give that a go.
And the stats that are coming out in this version, they look a lot more like the Kill Team stats that we saw when Kill Team first came out, which we were really excited by because they looked a lot simpler and a lot quicker to reference, but then that got bogged down with special rules and extra rules, whereas I'm hoping this doesn't have that.
This isn't going to happen with this.
So.
But they always claim that. So I consider myself the lowest common denominator for many things, painting, building, but for rules bloat, I will suffer.
We shall suffer no fools.
Suffer no rules bloat. If it breaks me, it breaks me. But I'm hoping it won't. So we are going to give this a little go because we've actually got 2 games coming out this summer. We've got this and we've got Star Wars Shatterpoint. I think it's going to be really interesting to sort of counterpoint them. Which one's the easiest? Shatterpoint's obviously a lot less models, but I think it might be more complicated. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So over the summer,
is it better to have like 50 models but only have 1 or 2 specials to remember, or 8 models and everyone's got its own specials? Because we had that problem with MCP.
We did,
where every fighter had like 7 or 8 different options, and your tiny brain just couldn't comprehend which one you wanted to play.
And I think I fear Shatterpoint may be like that. This may end up being like that too. Maybe we just won't play anything. We'll have to go back to playing drafts.
Yeah, basically. It's worth pointing out the other things in the box. There's a little battle for Ogram in here, which enables you to record your games, decide the fate of a world, which is going to be a world that won't matter whatsoever. So if it gets destroyed, it's not going to make a big difference to GW's timeline, but at least they're making it interactive.
Because that's really, because you can just go on and log your progress. And I suppose that is progress. Because in the olden days, you'd have to go into store or log it manually or whatever. But this is, I quite like
write it on a postcard and send it by
I could almost see that we might do that if we can ever get it done in a timely fashion, which we won't.
Yeah. You get a little transfer sheet as well for all the different Space Marine chaps in there as well. And then for the last few bits in the box here, you've got some
bases. Don't rustle them.
Huge bases, absolutely gigantic bases for the Gribblies and the Dreadnought. You've got other bases, I'm not going to touch them too much. And then you've got this box. It's still a little box.
It's very pleasing.
It's a very pleasing little box. It's well sized.
One of the best things about this box, and GW have totally been guilty of this before, and most games are, the box is usually exactly the right size to put the cards in. So as soon as you take the cards out and use them a little bit, they never ever fit back in the box. But that box actually looks like it's big enough to use
it'll actually
as a
be
box.
bigger.
I mean, because they're not.
Because yes, you've got these which are your like objective counts, and you can punch those out there. They're all separate and they're punchable. But obviously, once you punch those out, they won't go back in this box. You don't have space. So maybe there's enough space, so you could then, or you could sleeve the cards. Maybe there's enough room to sleeve it, because there are some people who love sleeving their cards.
I think they're the same size. Maybe are they like tarot size cards? I think they're the same size as the Shatterpoint order cards.
Oh, well, maybe.
So if I was getting a job lot to sleeve those, which I won't, I could sleeve those too.
You've got a little card here which gives you the quick summary of how to play a game. So muster armies, determine mission, read mission, put mission down, pick up tea, drink tea, create a battlefield. So you've got all of the
dice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there were no dice in the box.
There's no dice or measurers.
No rulers. No.
Yeah, measurers.
No. But there are these amazing little 3D glasses frames, which I think are really quite good. I think we should be using those.
And then you've got an absolute wad of cards here for both the armies. You've got the deployment zone rules, so you can tell at a glance what rules you're playing, what your setup's going to be. You've got your gambits, and we're not going to go into how these work, but you've got your gambits you can use, your mission rules, your primary missions, your secondary missions.
There's a whole article on Warcom about it.
I think this may be the most complex part of the game to start with, on working out how to determine your missions.
Yeah.
But as we're most likely to do attack each other and try and blow each other off the map.
Yeah, it's easy. And what I quite like about it is you can have, if one of you wants to play more flexibly, you can. So you can have one way where you draw new ones each turn. You have one where you have set ones.
Yeah.
And you can, and it works that you don't have to both decide, we're both going to be more flexible. One of you can be rigid and the other one can be flexible.
Yeah. And I like the fact that they've made a lot of this stuff more optional, like the painting of the models and the way the missions work. And I know anybody at home watching this will probably say, but you could do that anyway. You can make it as flexible as you like. But in order to make it flexible, you first need to understand the whole game. Yeah. Whereas in this way, you don't have to understand the whole game. You can just read one way and go, I'm going to do that way.
And we found it in Underworlds. Any game, if there's like a way that people play, it's very hard if you're getting into the game to be flexible and not play it that way.
Yes, because it's like if you turn up at a club with Underworld and you go, I just play this special version of Nemesis where I can use 3 decks, and everyone goes, that's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be the same with this when you try to, you won't find anybody to actually play with on a level playing field. I
can definitely see 2 very distinct groups of people coming out of this straight away. You're going to have people like us, much more casual, in it for the fun. They'll buy a combat patrol box. They want to play nice, easy missions. They don't care if they win or lose. It'll be like the 90s again, the early 90s in 40k, where you just played games and you didn't care if you won or lost. And then there'll be obviously the hyper-competitive people who really want to play the most competitive advantage. And I think this is going to give people scope to do both, and neither's wrong.
Absolutely. And I kind of think the old rules did that a bit, but I just think it was really hard if you were coming into the game to not fall into the competitive trap or pit.
And it was also really hard to find all your rules, because you end up needing 3 or 4 books, and there was erratas and all other kinds of stuff. I
still don't believe that's not going to happen, but maybe GW will surprise me.
We'll come back to this in a year's time and we'll find out where things are at, and maybe we'll sit there going, I've just painted my 17th combat patrol box ready for this month's campaign game that we've been running for 9 months now. Probably not, but it'll be interesting to see in a year down the line, are we still at that really easy way to play stage?
Cool. Yeah. Or will I have given up?
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. And like you say, we're going to have Shatterpoint coming out later this year as well, so we can do a nice little comparison between the two and see which do we prefer. Many models, few rules, supposedly, or few models.
And we can have a lore off.
A lore off.
Star Wars versus the Imperium.
You're probably, if you look hard enough, you'll find about half of the Star Wars lore in the 40k lore anyway, I should think.
Possibly. So, thanks for watching. Let us know whether you're excited for Leviathan. It's a bit of left field for me. I was really not interested in it, and then you started talking about it, and I know you are like.
I have a way.
Well, I think the way you put it was that 40k for you is like Star Wars for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just suddenly thought, well, we ought to try both.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try to do. Whether we'll actually have time on the channel and in our lives, but that's what we're going to try and do.
We're certainly going to give it a bash, and it'll be interesting to see which one comes out better on the table and better in our minds as well, because it can be...
Will one of us be converted to the dark/light side?
Yeah, or the Imperium or the Xenos. Yeah. So do leave us any comments below, any questions you might have. We could try and answer them. Let us know what you're looking forward to in 10th edition. Is it tempting you back from a previous older version where you just gave up because, like us, you just couldn't follow all the rules anymore? Yeah.
Lots of our patrons have armies, so it'd be really fun to play with them. Especially if we can get to Agents Con in September. But yeah, we've got there's some Blood Angels knocking around. There's a whole massive Imperial Guard army doing the rounds.
There's some Tau, other Marines and stuff.
So really fun to meet up and do those at Agents Con in September. Look out for more details coming soon.
Yes, please do, and don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell. Like I say, leave a comment below about what you're looking forward to or any questions you might have.
And if you do want to support us in our endeavours and help us free up a bit more time to play, then do consider supporting us on Patreon.
Yep. You get to join our Discord, chat with us on there along with everybody else, and just generally shoot the breeze about anything Games Workshop or other game related.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.